Salihin from Canada.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum assalam wa barakatuh.
How did you like the Canadian winter, Sheikh?
Horrible. And I did not go in winter, but it was horrible.
Okay.
It was really cold. But the people, the warmth of the people was, alhamdulillah, overwhelming. So that balanced the cold and the freezing weather a bit.
Alhamdulillah, it was good to meet you as well. Sheikh, my question is regarding the masjid, how some of the masjids, they have barrierless setting. There's no barrier between men's section and women's section. They use evidence that this is how it was during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, however, these things, as we know, the men, we are lacking very much when it comes to lowering the gaze, and also women do not do proper covering. Many actually, in fact, wear makeup in the masjid as well. So my question is this barrierless setting really feasible or applicable in this time and days?
Ufikum barakallah. Your line was not very clear, but I think if I understood your question correctly, it was talking about the partition between the men and the women's area in the masjid. And as we know, at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they prayed in the same hall, in the same masjid. And they did not have any partition to separate or segregate them from one another. The Prophet simply said, the best row of women is the furthest, the last, and the best row of men is the first, to keep them as far as possible. And the worst row of women is the first, and the worst row of men is the last, to keep them as far from each other as possible. Nowadays, people are divided. Some say, no, we have to confine women to a room, or at least put a partition to segregate them so that men would not look at them. And the women usually complain and say, we can't see the men when they're praying, and sometimes the microphones get disconnected and we lose track of following the imam. And each have their own evidences. Me personally, I'm fine with both. And to claim that women come inappropriately dressed and men don't lower the gaze, that wouldn't change the ruling of Islam. Because I could go even more extreme by saying, oh, if this is the case, then we shall ban women from coming to the masjid, as it's in many places in India, for example. They don't have any prayer room for, or prayer section for women. They totally ban them from coming to the masjid. And this is haram. This is not part of Islam at all. So we cannot justify crossing the line and changing the rules of Islam because of some mistakes or sins that people do. We tell men to lower their gaze and not to stand up and leave until it is proper for women to take cover and to leave before the men, as was the sunnah. We tell women to fear Allah and to wear modest clothes and not to wear makeup and not to reveal their awrah and fitna, so that they would not gain sins and nullify their own prayers. Why are you in the masjid in the first place? You're there to gain reward from Allah. But by coming in this fashion, you're gaining sins. So they have to be careful, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best.